Welcome to Around the Rinks, your go-to hockey podcast.
We are back. Another episode of Around the Rinks. I'm Noah, joined by Brendan, Kylee, and Reece. Producer Liam's having a birthday soccer game, so he's not joining us here. So
that's a cover up for something too. There's no way he's actually going to play soccer,
get loaded, you know. He's going to the bars. He's hitting every bar in White Ave. Come on, he's treating himself.
Much like the rest of Edmonton.
Much like the rest of Edmonton. Party city right now. Honestly, good thing we have the week off, because much needed rest for everybody here in Edmonton. Like, it's been a tough couple weeks, staying up all night, partying. Good on the liver too, probably, right? So
being hungover.
Exactly. So
being hungover every 2 days is not for the weak.
It's the playoffs. Come on, sacrifice the liver.
I would argue that some of the people I know have probably put their body through harder stuff than the players have over these playoffs. I think this has been tough.
Yeah, I know. The parties are kind of crazy. I ain't gonna lie, but Sunday mornings, watch some golf after a Stanley Cup game. I don't know. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be amazing.
What a treat.
I guess we can start just kind of reviewing the both conference finals. Edmonton gets it done against Dallas. Who had Edmonton in their predictions? So everybody on the right side.
Winner again.
Yeah.
Me and Reece both said Oil in 6, and it happened, and I'm super happy about it. This hasn't happened since I was 4 years old, so this is absolutely crazy. Edmonton deserves it, and hopefully we can get the cup, right?
It was a much deserved one. Like, the way they just handled Dallas in those last couple games. I think, what was it, game 4 where Edmonton came back from 2-0? I think that was the turning point, or was that game 5?
Mm-hmm.
It was game 4, yeah.
No, 4. It was in Edmonton.
Absolutely insane. 5 unanswered.
The turning point of that series, and just since then, you knew it was kind of over.
And to win 3 in a row, like that's impressive.
Wagon.
Absolutely wagon. And some unsung heroes too. It's not just like I mean, McDavid was great in Game 7, but like Nugent Hopkins coming in, getting on the score sheet more now, and Skinner, the back half of that series, Skinner was the goalie. He was the guy outplaying Onger. So
Skinner, I don't mean to toot my own horn too hard, but I did bring up that Skinner's numbers all season were better than Onger's, and they ended up being better than
I jerked myself off. But,
not that.
Yeah,
Onger was fine.
He wasn't the goalie we thought he would be, though.
He was great on the PK. I'll give him that. Like, he made some key saves almost every Oilers power plays, but he didn't steal a game, which is kind of what you would expect from a superstar goalie like him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I understand the speculation from you guys for not picking the Oilers. Like, Dallas was on a heater. They conquered Vegas. They conquered Colorado unexpectedly. Colorado's a great team, especially on paper. So going against them, like, that was scary. And it was kind of unexpected that it only went to 6. I was being a little confident saying 6. I thought it was going to be 7 for sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I thought the East was going to go to 7 too.
No.
But,
I mean, we could go quickly talk about the Cats and the Rangers. I mean, I knew the Cats were going to finish that off. Like, the way the Panthers just handled the Rangers, like, and to do it the way they always do it, just rough and tough hockey, and it's the perfect playoff hockey formula. Paul Maurice is a brilliant coach, and that Rangers team it's a hard team to beat. Probably one of the best teams on paper, right? And the President's Trophy winner as well, which could be the curse or whatever you want to say about that, but and Shesterkin played unbelievable that entire series. That series could have been done in 4 if Shesterkin didn't do Shesterkin things. So it's
and the goalies that they ran through, right? Like, fast first round, Swayman number 2, and then Shesterkin. That is I mean, that's your 3 of your top 5 guys in the league this year. Well, maybe not Bass this year, but like insane, right? And just no problem.
And then you have a great goalie behind you as well, right? Bob Roski. He hasn't had like the best statistically. Like I think he has like a 908 save percentage, but he makes 10 beller saves every single games.
Honestly, like the only goals I've seen get past Bob all playoffs are like goals he's not gonna be able to do anything about. Like it's either a snipe or like a 3-on-1 where he's got no. Like,
yeah, it's hard to beat Bob. Playoff Bob is a different beast. So
seriously.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little sad about this series because I did want Rangers and Oilers in the final. That's been my final since before the playoffs, so I didn't luck out on that one. But you know, Florida did really kind of come out of nowhere. Not nowhere, but they turned it around really fast. Like it kind of looked a little even in the beginning, and then it just went. And Rangers stayed down here, and Florida was up here, and you kind of knew that it wasn't going to come back. And it sucks because my cousin's a big Rangers fan, so I kind of wanted to see it happen in the end and, you know, go against each other. But, you know.
Who had the Panthers winning? I know I had them in 6. Did anybody else? So,
I did
just
too.
Kylee. Oh,
I
can make fun of her now. Oh, there we
go.
How the tables have turned.
It's okay. I had Dallas when nobody else did, so.
Just wanted the Matt Rempe content to continue.
I did, and Trouba. I didn't know that Trouba, his ankle, apparently. I mean, I don't, you know, it's kind of like, why are you talking about that after? Like, you lost. You don't really need to be like, oh, we lost because of this. Like,
that's pretty typical, though. Like, a lot of that kind of always comes out after.
As well.
Just like Kane talking about his hernia when he didn't have the greatest season. Right, so he's kind of explaining themselves a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, what a flattering freeze frame.
Come on.
Oh boy. Go on.
Yeah, she has no idea either, right?
Yeah.
I can't.
Just keep her going. Yep.
I don't know. Trouba, though. And I mean,
like having he broke his ankle and had a chunk of it removed.
Yeah, threw it in his elbow.
Yeah,
a little elbow heavy there.
Maybe that's why he's leaning towards his elbow more.
But like, at that point, it kind of seemed like he was like a step behind, no? Or is that just hindsight? Like at that point, like, is it not just better off kind of sitting yourself, or is that just you're captain of the New York Rangers? You go
I think it's
because you put
How do you blame the guy really? But like he's kind of like a Darnell Nurse over in Edmonton. He just kills so much ice time and just plays his role perfectly. And he's the captain of the team. He's
Am I back?
You're back.
You're back.
You want to say what you were saying about Trouba?
Okay, I'm good. Well, I would have loved to see. I don't know if you guys heard, but I wanted to see a little Trouba versus Kane action because they both have great grit. You know, even like Trouba versus Nurse. I know defensemen don't really meet each other too much. It's always, you know, offense versus defense. But it would have been more Kane versus Trouba, I think. And, you know, it would have been nice to see our big guys like Ekholm, Vinny, Nurse, Kane go up against their grit, like Rempe and Trouba.
I agree.
You're going to get a lot of it in Florida, too, though.
I know. I was just about to say, there's a lot of grit in Florida, too. So,
yeah.
Even
did you see the comparisons? Like the average size and weight?
It's like identical.
Edmonton has an extra pound,
really?
I think.
Yeah.
The height was the exact same. It was both 6'2" average, and then Edmonton was like 202, and
that's insane.
Florida was 200.9 or something like that. Like
it was super close.
It was crazy.
Talk about it.
I mean, how big's Sam Bennett? Because he's a type of guy who just plays like that, and I don't think he's the tallest.
He's not like huge.
Right?
Like I think he's like maybe
6'2",
6'1", but he's probably like 210.
Well, but he plays like exactly. He's 6'5",
which is almost everybody
right?
on that Florida team.
Yeah.
I know. I was watching. I saw that hit that Kachuk laid on ankle last year, and I don't know if you guys remember. It was right through center.
Yeah.
Like waffled him, and I was like, this is kind of intimidating for some of these guys that like carrying that puck right up in the middle.
Yeah, you got to be careful doing that against Florida.
Get off the tracks, baby. Train's coming through.
I'm interested to see if Lamborghini's back in. He was out for the last game or last 2 games of that Rangers series, so I'm not 100% sure. There's a lot of lineup changes that can still happen, but this is going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a great series. I guess we can just start talking about this series now. Again, Florida dominates 5-on-5 hockey. That is going to be the big question mark there. They're number 1 ranked 5-on-5 for goals for and expected goals for. Their 5-on-5 goals against is 1.76, and Oilers' 5-on-5 goals against is 2.51. So that is huge.
Almost
that's
a goal difference.
Full goal difference. So that's going to come in huge play in this series. Also, both teams' PK has been just absolutely brilliant during this play. Oilers number 1 ranked with 93.9 on the PK. Like,
nobody is going to want to take a penalty
right there. But also on the Florida side, it's 88.2, which is also just really good. So
yeah,
it's going to definitely come down to special team. It's hard to say. It's hard to say what's going to happen. Can Florida's PK handle Oilers' number 1 ranked power play? Right? So it's coming down to that, and you're still top 3 players are in the top 3 in the league. So McDavid,
I'm
is crazy.
No, seriously, I'm definitely interested to see how this all ends up going, like with the amount of force that these offensive guys from Edmonton have played with, having Hyman like leading the league in goals, and you look at that leaders in points, and it's all Edmonton has been through and through pretty well. Like what kind of, a lot of it's been like, how is Barkov going to shut down McDavid sort of thing. Like, I think more of it has to be like, how is this Oilers group going to be able to adjust to having that Barkov guy on their throats every inch of the series? Like, how is McDavid going to be able to respond to just having that shoved down his throat? Like, Barkov is a lot better defensively than JT Miller was. Like, I think this is going to be tough. And I didn't realize how physical Vancouver was before Edmonton played them. But, like, I think that Florida team plays a similar style of physicality. Like, they are going to hit you every chance they get pretty well. And that forecheck that they have, too, is very scary. Like, having those guys bombing in there, and, like, a guy like Vinny sitting back there, that's a little bit scary once he gets the puck back there. How quick is he going to be able to make those decisions and all that?
And I think that's kind of...
is he going to even be in?
That's, like, they're kind of setting up Broberg, and I don't know if you rely on him all, like, the whole series, right? Like, Vinny probably steps back in at some point. But I think you probably start with that to combat that, right? Like, Vinny's not the quickest guy. Broberg's got some wheels on him. Like, you kind of say whatever you want. The guy can fly. Get back there, retrieve a puck, and turn it up before you can get hit. And, you know, he's going to get hit, right? There's going to be a couple times, and how do you respond to that? And I think that's probably going to be a huge part of it, right? But, you know, kind of Knobloch's little, you know, like you said, kind of Edmonton adjusting to Florida. Why not make Florida adjust to you, right? Like, and all the respect in the world to Barkov, right? I'm not going to try and take anything away from him. But, and I mean, the stats don't lie, right? Like, you look at the top guns on all 3 teams, and they've just been nothing when he's on the ice, right? But I think McDavid's a different beast, right? Like, that dude's the best player in the world on any given day. And we've never seen him have a cup on the line, right? Like, I feel like Connor is going to go ballistic even from his, like, standpoints and standards. And, like, I'm scared for Florida in that sense, right? And
I
you know
agree.
what? If there's a guy to shut him down, it would be Barkov, right? The guy's going to win the Selke till he retires. I think we said that before, right? But, yeah, like, McDavid's a different animal,
Barkov?
man.
I think McDavid has been playing team player, and I think he's going to start worrying about himself and getting this cup now. Because he's been playing, I'm going to assist a lot, and I'm going to be a good team player. And I think he's going to start turning into, I want to score.
But I think that's kind of like always what a team player is, right? Like whatever the team needs at that point, right? And that clinching game with Dallas, when he walked through Heiskanen and made him look like an absolute bone.
Their best defenseman.
You could have put me out there, and I would have, like, it would have been he looked the exact same, right? Like, it was, he had him so turned around, he didn't know which way was up, which way was down, right? Like, at that point in time, the team needed a big goal, right? And that's what McDavid goes out there and does, right? Like, I don't see why that changes. And, you know, if it is him walking through the whole team, good luck. But at the same time, if there's a guy to do it, I'll put my money on Connor.
But there's a guy that can also shut him down on the blue line, and that's Gustav Forsling.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah, after I finished pumping his tires about being Nick
Lindstrom. This guy
I remember that very well.
Having himself a playoffs. Like, him and Barkov is probably right there for your Conn Smythe picks if Florida wins it all. Just because when those two are on the ice, you just know they're not going to score. The opposing team's not going to score.
Yeah, go down the other side.
Right? So, I don't know. Gustav Forsling's pretty good. McDavid is also really good.
Well, the same thing. Fly like the wind, right? Like, if he was a bigger dude, I mean, Connor's got all the speed in the world, but Forsling isn't, you know, he's pretty fleet of foot himself, so.
Yeah, I think Forsling's almost like, he might be a little bit shorter, but he's got a similar build to Darnell Nurse. Like, not skill-wise. I'm not saying they're like the exact same, but just like the way that they can move. Like, Darnell Nurse can freaking move down the ice, and I think Forsling is the exact same thing. Like, he's an extremely mobile defensive defenseman, and that goal he scored against New York, that was gross. A little backhand shelf, like, how many times do you think he gets a puck in there and scores? Like, that's probably the first opportunity he's got inside the circles all season.
He also scored the clinching goal against Boston too. This guy is just pure clutch. So
and for free,
waiver claim.
That is like the most bonkers. Yeah,
and he's
that hurts for 31 other teams.
For the next 8 years. So no, not a bad career for him.
No.
I really do think like a big, like, I'm not going to say it's the biggest thing that will dictate how this playoffs goes, but I really do think that penalties will matter because both of the power plays are so good that that was really what helped us with Dallas was those power plays because we have such a great power play. So I really do think both teams are going to be trying not to get a penalty, like their life depends on it.
And I can't wait to see how Florida does with that, right? Because they play such a heavy, kind of chippy, we're going to end up taking penalties game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think, sorry.
No, the big X factor to me is, like, they're going to take them, right? Is Edmonton going to get drug into that fight? As soon as Edmonton gets drug in there, edge Florida all day, right? You can't play that game with Florida. They're going to steamroll you.
Florida is so good at making the other team take crappy penalties. That is what they do so well.
Where, like, if you can somehow walk away for however long the series is, now I like Edmonton's chances in that sense, right?
That's the big thing between this year and last year's Florida team. Last year they took some kind of crappy penalties that you shouldn't take. And Paul Maurice totally just don't do any of that. Smack him on the back of the head. Just like, don't do that. Bad. But I don't know. They're going to get in their heads. It's going to be chippy every single whistle. It's going to be, I'm in your face right now. Try to punch me.
I'm a little worried about Kane. People that we know have a short fuse. A lot of people on the team don't really have a short fuse.
Yeah.
But like Kane, I mean, Vinny kind of steps in to like protect people, but sometimes he gets a little carried away. Like, I know he's there for a reason, not for himself. Nurse has a short fuse sometimes. So it's really going to come down to, can you humble yourself and remember that the cup is waiting?
That's why I love a guy like Corey Perry. Just to be a voice there.
I'm quite concerned about Leon Draisaitl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's the kind of guy that, like, obviously he can deal with that whole, like, oh, if you're going to be an asshole to me, like, I'll be an asshole to you. Like, doesn't have a problem giving it back. But some of these chances he decides to get back is, like, blatant two-hand in the back of the leg. And sometimes it really puts the Oilers in a bad spot. And I don't mean to discredit anything that Leon Draisaitl has done, especially over these playoffs. But, like, he's got to make sure that he walks the line of, like, oh, okay, yeah, like, F you too, but not putting the team at a disadvantage. Because once they, like, start getting to those guys, and McDavid, if he gets pissed off, like, that's going to be really, really hard for the Oilers to get out of. And once those two get rattled, the whole team does. Like, it's
I agree. We saw it happen with Pietrangelo. Yeah. He hurt Draisaitl, and McDavid came out literally swinging. So, I mean, I think it was justified. It was a bad move, and it pissed McDavid off rightfully, because that was a blatant two-hand chop to hurt Draisaitl. So we need to not take the bait.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
I think one question mark on this series is, what type of Stuart Skinner are we going to get? So
locked.
Like, in his last 8 games, he has a 1.81 goals against and a .919 save percentage. I'm a little scared of the weak break, because he's red hot right now, and when that happened last time in LA and he had the weak break, he came pretty cold in Vancouver. So I'm curious what you.
It's the same thing. Last year, Bobrovsky, like, out of his mind the first 3 rounds. Like, I don't know if you guys remember that. His stats were unbelievable. Like, he was playing insane. They got that big break going into the finals, and he did not find it again. So it's really, like, it's not like either team got much more of a break than the other, but, like, I think it's – I don't know how quality of the goaltending we're going to get to start off the series.
Yeah, it's almost like
last year it was almost 2 weeks, because they swept Carolina and then had that long break to go into Vegas.
Yeah, that can really rattle a goalie. Like,
so I'm curious what type of Stuart Skinner we're gonna see. I hope he's staying hot. I would love to see a goaltending battle.
Fingers crossed.
Shall we do the predictions?
Yeah. Brandon, you want to start?
I feel like Brendan doesn't know yet. Come on, Brendan. Or he does know, and it's going to disappoint me. No?
I almost want to bet against Edmonton, because I did last round and worked out all right.
You changed anything up. Hey, you jumped off the bandwagon. We don't want you back.
Yeah, well, I'll kick it off then. That decides it right there for Mr. Revel down in the corner. We're going to go, I'm going to root again, Edmonton in 6. Let's do it at home. But in my heart, and because Reece pushed me off the edge, I'll give Edmonton 7 games. Let's go Florida in 7.
Yeah.
No justification. I'm not even going to ramble on about it. I'm off the bandwagon, and Florida's a good team, and they have Nick Lindstrom on the back end, and, you know, it is what it is.
Kylee?
Oh, God. Okay. I have to go Oil in 6 again. I'm not changing it. I think if we're going to do it, we're going to do it in 6. I don't think we're going to drag it out. I think that we have our head in the game. Nobody wants the cup more than this team, and nobody wants anybody to have it more than McDavid. He deserves it. Nuge deserves it. I think Nuge deserves it more than McDavid. Nuge has been on this team for, 12 years? And he's never gotten a cup?
Yeah.
He needs it. This whole team wants to get it. And I think Florida had it last year, and yeah, they might want it again, but Edmonton, we need to bring the cup back to Canada. It needs to be Edmonton. And I don't think anything is going to stop us.
You know who deserves a cup? Kyle Okposo.
Oh.
Yeah. That dude. He's put in some tough years.
Same with Bobrovsky, honestly. You could say him too. Just veteran goalie. He's been great his whole career.
Sergei Bubsitsky.
This is hard. I'm gonna say the same thing as Brendan. Go Cats in 7. This series could be quick. This series, like, it can be
scary too, right?
It can go 5 games for all we know.
I almost said Cats in 5. Yeah.
It's hard to say, but I'm gonna still Florida Panthers in 7 games. Win the Stanley Cup. Oh boy.
Well, just to start this off, who would have ever thought we'd be here?
Yeah.
When we started this podcast this year, how bad were the Oilers at that time even? It was still like, this is sick, first off. Sucks they run into Florida. I would have way rather seen New York for sure. That team's got some
mile.
Why do you think I wanted Rangers to win?
Okay.
Yeah. You can see your lady boner through the fucking screen, dude.
Yeah.
What do you mean you thought it was because of the matchup?
I would have loved a good fight, okay?
Excuse me. I do think a lot of this series is honestly going to come down to like these 5-on-5 matchups and how Knobloch can get McDavid escaping from that Forsling Ekblad pairing, because that is probably the kryptonite, in my opinion, of this Oilers offense. But whichever way like they're not playing, you've also got a Leon Draisaitl centered line that can, like, I think right now Daily Faceoff has Kane and Holloway on that line, which I think is pretty sick. Like, you've got 2 big boys on both sides, and they can freaking skate, both of them. So I don't know. I think that line is pretty strong. The top pair, or the top line for Edmonton, is obviously going to do its thing. But this third line, like Henrique, Perry, and McLeod, I think it is right now. They've got to like really produce, because that Tarasenko, Lundell, and Luosterainen, that line's been sick. Like, I think Tarasenko was a beast in that last series especially, and Lundell, I think, has finally found his form. Like, last year, I think once they got deep in the playoffs, Lundell was a little bit in over his head. Like, he's still a young guy. And, I mean, once you go through a full extra season pretty much playing in those playoffs, you mature a lot. So I think that's what we're really seeing out of some of these guys in Florida. Like, but they got a lot of vets in there that, like, have gotten close and they haven't been able to do it. And pretty much this whole team, there's so many returning players from last year. It's going to be so tough. In my opinion, they got probably the best coach in the league, Paul Maurice, like, and such a master at media manipulation. Like, literally anything that goes on in this series, he won't give any opinion about. He'll just have everybody laughing about the ducks that cross the road. Like, he is seriously a puppeteer in everything. I really think, non-biased, that the Oilers can get this done, though. Like, I think that this team is so underrated from, like, a lot of mainstream media, everything. Like, I think this defense is better than it gets credit for. I think the bottom 6 is better than it gets credit for. And I think that, like, the power play is literally the best thing we've ever seen in our entire lives and our grandpa's life. Like, it is. These guys are ready. They've lost the last 2 years to Stanley Cup champions. They're not going to make it 3. And I've always thought that once McDavid and Draisaitl get that opportunity at this stage, there's zero chance they let this slip. Like, I don't think that who knows if any of these guys are going to get another opportunity. Who knows what Draisaitl's plan is in the future. Like, I think they get this done in 6.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
What a speech.
I love his speech, his prediction speeches so much. It gives me faith.
This is the craziest thing in the world, though. Like, I love this team. Like, love this city. I can't believe this is finally happening. I think these Oilers fans deserve it more than anybody. Like, we obviously have the luxury of watching McDavid and Draisaitl do a thing every single night. But, fuck, you'd be hard-pressed to find a team that cared just as much about this team at this level that they're at the same point as when Nail Yakupov was our first line left winger. Like, those teams were so bad, and we were walking to Rexall Place. Like, this is a Cinderella story in the making, in my opinion. Let's go Oilers.
I hate to poo-poo anything because, again, we're Oilers fans over here too, even though we're all bandwagon and whatnot. But it's been like, math guy, I'm going to go pull the number and I don't even want to say it because I'm so not confident in that. But it was the late 70s. I want to say like 78, 77, 78, 78, 79, something like that, where there was a team that went to the Cup back-to-back years, and they lost both years. It hasn't happened since. If you go back-to-back, you're winning at least one of them. And that's scary.
I love when Knobloch was like talking about it. I love how you shout out the Buffalo Bills. Yeah.
Bills? Yeah.
Hockey's different, though.
And I mean, like you said, if there's someone to make Florida part of the history books for that reason again, probably Connor and Leon, right?
Why not? I was struggling with this pick because March 3rd I put money on Florida to win the Cup after making a trade, after hearing rumors that they're gonna get Tarasenko. So I was like, okay, I'm putting money on them right now. So
what are the odds you got?
Here, I'll bring it up right now. But I was thinking like to pick Edmonton, so no matter what, I win. Because if Oilers win, my prediction's right, and if they lose, I get money. So, it was pretty good though. I know it's definitely like I think Florida is the favorite to win the Cup. It was plus 650. Yeah,
that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
Take that.
I thought Oilers were the favorite to win.
I think it is Florida.
Yeah, Florida's favorite. Yeah, like Florida. Edmonton. Not by
or was it just like
margin.
The odds? Because I know we have the better odds. Like I remember it being 35.6%.
I could just check right now.
I did want to say though, like if I'm going to have faith in anybody right now, it is going to be our coach, Knobloch, because every time stuff doesn't look like it's going well for us, he has massive line changes, stuff where we're like, how's this going to go? And then we have such great games after. Such great games. This guy's an absolute wizard. He knows how to play McDavid. He knows how to get Connor Brown going, which is hard. And I think every time he changes stuff up, it just goes so well for us. I hope that doesn't happen and he just keeps what we have right now and we go strong with it, because it seems like he's kind of found a little bit of a sweet spot for us, especially with Oil and 6 against Dallas, because a lot of people thought it was going to 7 or it was going to be Dallas, which is understandable because they looked like the tougher team.
Mm-hmm. I love Knobloch. Yeah.
Knobloch, I got to give it to him. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I have faith in him that if it isn't looking too well, he's going to switch stuff up and we're going to come out guns blazing.
We know how big that guy's balls are, so expect anything from him.
And you mentioned Connor Brown. Is this the kind of Connor Brown you expected to get when you signed him, right? Like, is he finally hit a stride? Yeah. Like, can we kind of start to rely on this guy to not only be a PK specialist and create a little bit of offense, right? Like, that could be a huge story at the end of this series, right?
His goal with Janmark was amazing. Yeah. What an assist. He's been on the score sheet more in the last series and a half than he was for, exactly. Like, and is it easier to play in the season and the playoffs? Like, you'd expect to be doing a little bit harder because the team you're going up against back to back is so good because they're there for a reason. But he's just flourishing,
trying to earn himself a contract.
A little.
And like, he may not be scoring a lot. But he is so good on our PK. He was kind of like Yamamoto a bit. Yamamoto wasn't a big producer, but he got us penalties and he was good on the PK.
And confidence is a funny thing too, right?
Seriously. And for a guy that missed so much time, right? Like, he missed pretty well 2 years. Mm-hmm. So to come back and, like, I think the expectations were a little bit too high on him. Even myself, like, I was like, we're basically getting another Zach Hyman. Like, this is awesome.
This is a steal.
Like, yeah, I know. I was like, this is unreal. And then once he kind of got back in the swing of things and you kind of started to see, like, how this guy really plays and, like, how he can be effective, I think he's found the perfect role, right? And it's hard to find a spot on this Oilers team right now. Like, this is a deep team that they've got in the first place. Like, it's not like you can just go in there and be like, whoa, well, I was good, so I should be playing. Like, he's got to find this really niche role on this team, and he's playing it to perfection, in my opinion. Like, there's a lot of little kinks that these guys have all worked out throughout the season. Like, even Janmark, like, some of the confidence he's playing with now is, like, pretty unreal to watch. Like, he'll be doing some stuff, and you're like, holy, is that freaking McDavid out there? Like, what the hell?
Check the jersey number twice.
I always notice that with McLeod. For how much crap he gets, he can really just turn it on. Just like that, right?
He's been playing on these last few games, too. And I think that goal that he scored in whatever game that was, where they were down 2-0 in Edmonton, game 4, I think. Yeah, and then they ended up coming back and winning. He got that first goal, and it was assisted by Corey Perry after they'd both been healthy scratches. Like, I think that type of stuff has been what, like, really has been getting this team over the humps. Like, these guys it's been the same team for the last 5 years, 6 years almost. Like, these guys are all brothers.
I got 2 things here. Florida is favored to win the series. And I saw that the one and only Drake put $500K for the Oilers to win.
Hell yeah.
That's the curse. Why would he
is known to lose, like, every single bet he's ever made. So
he had Raptors.
And he also had Casey this year. I did see that. So maybe he's on the upswing.
Yeah, and I think he has won a few. It is scary.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Corey Perry stuff we got already, just bring him on. Like, I think you might as well just get every single little curse you can, so there's something to fall back on just in case.
Did you? I imagine all of you guys have passed through at some point following the Oilers Barstool Sports with Portnoy.
Oh yeah,
being the biggest Oilers fan in the world now. Like, that guy doesn't lose, and he's on the wagon.
And he's been riding that since, like, the beginning of the playoffs. Like, randomly picked it, and it's pretty sick. I think he's coming to Edmonton with the Chicklets guys, actually.
I saw a tweet, like, the Chicklets are looking for a golf course to do a sandbagger at.
Yeah.
So they're
my favorite part.
I know.
No way.
My favorite part is.
It was pretty sick. And I got a like Pink Whitney jersey. It's like over there. Yeah.
Oh, that's super cool.
Not a big
deal.
Yeah, my favorite part about him is the comments were like, somebody needs to get this guy a hockey stick, because the pool noodle is the funniest thing ever. He's just swinging it while he's talking.
Yeah.
I did want to say, back to what you were saying about you need to be able to find your niche in the Oilers team. We saw that with Vinny. Vinny was, he was making mistakes. He was newer to the team last year. He really locked in. And the fact that we were able to sit out a player that is doing so well like him and flourish and do good, love this team. It's not like we're sitting out somebody who isn't producing. We're sitting out somebody who's doing great, and we're still doing great. Like, we are a little worried about him being a little slow. But I think, like, I want to ask you guys a question. Are we bringing him back for game 1?
I don't think so.
Probably not. Not after the way Broberg's played.
I think Broberg, I think we should keep him.
But I mean, what is going to be like how long of a leash are you giving Broberg? Like, Vinny's got to get back in at some point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's short.
Yeah. I think
they might even have a plan to bring Vinny back and interchange and see how the other pairs work, right? Because, that's a big part of it too. If Ulak can keep playing the right side, fantastic. If he starts to look like a bum, let's bring in the right shot guy.
Has played this entire playoff.
Yeah, Did you hear that he hasn't played right side since before juniors?
Wow.
It was like his minor hockey days.
I don't think he played right side.
He's like, oh yeah, I'll just flip over there in the conference final. Like,
not a big deal.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, love his play.
Pretty selfless though.
Totally. Yeah, he's just reliable guy in your back end. That's all you ask for, right?
That has been another episode of Around the Rinks, your go-to hockey podcast. We'll see you next time.